Hello everyone and welcome to Chasing Adventures, and today we are going to take a look at FineVu GX1000 Dash Cam. And I know it's another dash cam review video, but there's a good reason why I'm making this video, and I'll tell you why in just a bit. So FineVu is a very well respected company in South Korea when it comes to dash cam and navigation system for our cars. And they've been around since 1992 with under 0.2% defective rate, which is crazy low. So I think they know what they're doing when it comes to dash cam industry. And still, when they asked me to review their GX1000 Dash Cam, I was a bit hesitant to make another dash cam review video because I've done a few of them already and I'm pretty satisfied with my current setup. But during my research, I did find one thing that this dash cam stood out from the rest of the dash cams out there, or maybe two things depending on how you look at it. But the first one was that the rear camera records in 2K resolution. And this is a big deal because most of the dash cams, including mine, has a 4K resolution for the front camera, which gives very clear image, but the rear camera only records in 1080p, which in this modern day term, it's pretty mediocre. And I think the rear camera is equally important when it comes to dash cam footages. Now, there's one downside to this, and that is that the front camera also records in 2K compared to the 4K resolution that I currently have. So we'll compare both of the front and the rear camera footages and see if it makes any difference. Now, the second one is that to power this dash cam, you have to hardwire it. And while the ones that comes with the cigarette lighter jack plug is easier to install, the dash cam won't work or function if you turn off the ignition, which defeats the purpose of having a parking mode. And if you want to use that mode, you will have to purchase the hardwiring kit separately. And if you're planning to use the dash cam only while you're driving, this wouldn't matter at all. But I think it's a good idea to use this function if it's available, because in a case of a hit and run while the car is parked or break-ins, you have the footages to claim it or even possibly catch the criminals in an act. Because most of the cars in South Korea or other Asia countries has a dash cam with the parking mode turned on and is used as a surveillance camera. And in case of any incident, the police will use it as a reference and actually put a lot of criminals behind bars because of those dash cam footages. And I'll show you guys how to hardwire it, which is pretty simple to do. But first, let's see what's all included and talk about its specs. So in the box, we have the GX1000 Dash Cam, hardwire power cable, rear camera, mounting hardware, and it comes with the 32GB micro SD card. But the dash cam can support up to 128GB, and a user manual, and comes with the 3-year warranty. The dash cam is made out of all plastic and feels light, but has a premium feel to it. And while it's lacking a screen, it has a large functional buttons. And on the side of the dash cam is where you will find the micro SD card slot and the power button. And on the back, we have the power port and the rear camera connection port. Now, both the front and the rear camera's angle is adjustable to fit the shape of your car's windshield. And for the specs, both the front and rear camera records in 2K resolution in either 30 or 15 frames per second, and 6 frames per second in time-lapse mode, and uses 5.1 megapixel Sony Starvis IMX335 image sensor for clear footage, and the viewing angle for the front camera is 139 degrees or 141 degrees for the rear. And it has GPS, Wi-Fi connection, microphone, speaker, and security LED all built into the system. It also features AI damage detection, and the system will section your car into 8 different impact areas and alert the impacts in 3 different levels, which is pretty high tech. And this can be seen on their mobile app, which we'll take a look at the app later on this video. And in parking mode, if an incident has occurred, it will record 10 seconds before and 10 seconds after, giving you a total of 20-second footage. And in power saving parking mode, you'll get 1-minute long surveillance footage. And has a low voltage cutoff with AI heat monitoring, so if the dash cam starts to overheat while in parking mode, it will automatically switch it to power saving mode, and when it cools down, it will switch back to motion parking mode. So this is a very high-tech dash cam. And while this might not be an important function to the US customers, but it also has a speed camera alert system. But it's not a radar detector, so don't go speeding down the highway now. And while it's not the smallest dash cams out there, but they designed it to sit flush with the windshield so it won't obstruct your view too much. Now, for more technical specification like its operating temperature, bit rates, and more can be found at FineVu's website. And I'll have the link in the video description for you guys. Now, that's out of the way. Let's go ahead and install the dash cam on the car and compare the footages. So I currently have Vantrue M4 Pro dash cam on the car. And since this is going to be a comparison video of the two, I'm not going to fully run and hide the wire for the GX1000. But if you want to see how I ran my wires on the Subaru Outback Wilderness, I'll have the link to my dash cam installation video in the video description. And although it's an older video, but you get an idea on how to run the wires. And to power the GX1000, first you're going to need a 12-volt circuit tester and 2 fuse tab and a wiring crimple tool. And this hard wiring kit consists of 3 wires: the yellow wire for constant power or battery, the red wire for accessory, and the black wire is for the ground. So first, we need to connect the red wire and the yellow wire to the fuse tab using a crimp tool. And once that's done, using the fuse panel guide and circuit tester, we're going to locate the accessory and constant fuse slot. And for the accessory, it will receive power only when the ignition is turned on, whereas the constant fuse slot receives power even when the ignition is turned off. And once you found the fuse slot you want to use, pull out the existing fuse and put the fuse onto the lower or the bottom portion of the fuse tab, and then a new fuse that came with the fuse tab kit onto the upper portion, and insert the fuse tab back into the fuse slot. And for the ground wire, find the bolt that is directly bolted onto the chassis of the car and connect the wire to the bolt. And few important things to note are: make sure the fuse tab you're using or adding has an equal to or lower fuse rating than the fuse tab you have chosen. And I would avoid using fuse slot used by any of your vehicle's critical components such as airbags and engine modules for safety reasons. So in my case, I'm using 12-volt socket for the accessory wire and seat heater for the constant wire. Now for the ground wire, the best spot to look for the ground bolt is underneath the footrest. And to take this out, there's a tab here. Basically just pull out. And to remove this whole assembly or the panel, take out the door sill just by pulling it out like this, and then pull this outward. There we go. Panel out of the way, and here's the ground wire or ground bolt. So we are going to connect the ground cable onto this. And now that everything is connected, let's see if we have power. Let me turn on the ignition. Yeah, so we got lights, so that means it's working. Perfect. So on our Subaru, we have these 2 gigantic eyesight cameras, and we don't want to interfere with the dash cam in front of the eyesight, so otherwise it won't work. So the only place that I think this will work properly will be right here like this, so that it's out of the way. It won't interfere with the eyesight either. And to put this on, it's basically attached with double-sided tape. And as I mentioned earlier, the camera is actually adjustable, so it is going to sit on the windshield about this angle. And right now the camera is facing down, so what you want to do is just lift it up. Okay, so it's mounted on there and it doesn't obstruct with the rearview mirror or the eyesight camera. Now let's plug the rear camera and we should be good to go. Now, before we move on to the sample footages, let's see if the camera angle is adjusted to the correct position. And since it's missing a screen, we could use a mobile app to see the live footage. So first, thank you. So first, let's download the FineVu's app on the App Store and connect it to the dash cam using the Wi-Fi connection. And by the way, her voice is very soothing. I like it. And FineVu Wi-Fi. Install. Now we're connected. No, well, not yet. We're not connected yet. So let's connect the dash cam.
Parking mode on.
Oh, I just turned off the ignition and now the parking mode is on, which is nice. So the system is working. Now let's connect the dash cam and non-LCD dash cam. Dash cam password is 1234567 Okay, so what we have to do is we have to go into the Wi-Fi section on your phone, connect it, and the password is 1234567 and enter the password, connect. Okay, so let's see the live view and see if our camera angle is correct. Maybe I could adjust it a little bit higher. All right, so the angle looks good. Let's see if we could look at the rear angle. Rear angle looks okay too. And see what else we have. So under the setting,
Stopping video recording.
so we could turn off the voice recording on and off.
Recording on. 4.
Sound,
Sound off.
that's the sound control volume.
1, 2.
Environment is basically speed unit. We're in US, so we're going to use miles per hour. Speed display OSD on, yes. Rear record direction standard. And if you have the rear camera flipped upside down, then you want to do flip horizontal. Or security LED is always. Status LED brightness, that should be the one that's on the dash cam. Let's do level 3.
Changes have been applied.
Let's go into camera. Here's the HDR section, and you always want to turn HDR on. And ADAS is Advanced Driver Assistance System. So like FVMA, for vehicle motion alert. So if the vehicle starts moving, I guess it will start to alert you. And LDWS is for lane departure warning system. I don't know why they have off 40, 50, 60 miles per hour, but we'll test that out and we'll leave it at as is. See, here's the speed camera notification. Now, in Asia countries, they have designated speed camera locations. So the camera knows the location of those each speed cameras. So it'll notify you how far the speed camera is. But in US, we don't have that here, so it's unnecessary. Rest notification, I believe that would be if you're driving for a long distance, it's gonna tell you to take a break. On-time notification, we'll just leave everything here as is.
Changes have been applied.
And power. So this is where you set the low voltage setting to prevent your car's battery draining out. Right now it's at 12 volt, that's fine. So there's a time limit, I guess. You could actually turn it off. So it'll continue to record even though your car is parked for several days, as long as the battery voltage stays above 12 volt. Okay, so I'll leave that off.
Changes have been applied.
And if there's an event, then you will go to event summary.
Video recording.
But obviously we don't have anything yet. Dashcam file should be empty.
Stopping video recording.
Or it should be coupled because the car's been running and it's been recording.
Starting video recording.
And you could actually download the videos too. So it looks like everything is set. Let's take the car out and take it for a spin and we'll compare the footages. So here's the daytime footage of FineVu. And I wish it was sunny day so I could see how well it handles high contrast situation. But cloudy day is all we get here in the Northwest. And here's a testing of the built-in microphone. Testing audio sample. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this is where the ADAS miles per hour setting kicks in.
Activate ADAS.
We set it at 40 miles per hour, so as soon as it hit that speed, it activated the ADAS system. And here's a footage of the rear camera, and you could clearly see the license plate on the truck that's pulling up behind us. And everything else is very clear too. And one more time in different lighting. Oh, and please note that my car has a pretty dark tint, so this is doing a very good job. And as the car in front of me starts to move away, the dash cam is alerting me, so we can see that the FVMA system is working very well. And as we're driving away, you could clearly see all the store signs and the image is very crisp. And now we're pulling into Trader Joe's parking lot. And this is the parking mode. And you can see us walking into Trader Joe's for some grocery shopping. And the rear camera footage in parking mode is, again, it's very clear. All right, now we're on the same road, but at night. And the footage is pretty good. but the rear footage is a bit grainy, but you know, it's doing a decent job. And here I'm pulling into a pretty dark street, and the grain is much more noticeable here, especially for the rear camera. Alright, and this is my Vantrue dashcam footage, and please note that it's recording in 4K. And for some reason the mic was turned off, so the audio isn't available. And I never noticed this, but Vantrue is having a hard time adjusting contrast and white balance, as you can see in this footage. And it looks very washed out. And here is that truck pulling up behind us, and it's doing a decent job. And again, the footage seems a little washed out and not as clear and vivid as FineVu. And also it has much more pronounced fisheye effect. And for some reason, the footage got much darker, and it wasn't this dark in real life. But interestingly, the night footage seems a little better and less grainy compared to FineVu. Now, you could really see the difference when you compare them side by side. Top is Vantrue and bottom is FineVu. And overall, FineVu has clear, vivid, and way better color representation compared to Vantrue. And again, even at night, FineVu has a better color representation because my headlights aren't yellow at all, and brighter footage, but it's slightly grainy. And seems like Vantrue handles the streetlights better without flaring up like FineVu. But that might be because I accidentally touched the camera lens and smeared it, because the rear camera is not flaring up like the front. And this is how the LED lights looks like in parking mode, in front and the rear. And as soon as it captures motion, it'll start to blink faster. And it does a very good job of capturing motion. Just look at how far I was when it started to record. And the rear camera also captures motion separately compared to the front camera, which is a very nice feature in case you had the car parked head on and something happened in the rear. So, in conclusion, if you're looking at this review because you're thinking about getting this dash cam on your car for the first time or upgrade from your current dash cam, I say go for it, because it has all the features that more expensive dash cam has and then some, like the ADAS system, the AI damage detection, and importantly, overall footage is great. Yes, you're not getting 4K footage for your front camera, but as you saw, it was very close, and in some situations, it did much better than my current 4K dash cam. And plus you're getting 2K rear footage. So is it a sacrifice you have to make to not to get a 4K front camera? You know, I wouldn't even call it a sacrifice because it was that close. Oh, and not to mention the cost, which is a bargain for everything that you're getting. So I think it's well worth it. And I'm really glad that I got to test out FineVu's dash cam. And I hope this video was convincing enough for you to finally get a dash cam on your car, because as I mentioned in all my dash cam review videos, having a dash cam is a must. Especially nowadays as things are much more crazier, and it seems like there are a lot more road rage incidents than ever before. So thank you all for tuning in today, and I hope today's video was informative, and if it was, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new to our channel. And until next time, keep chasing adventures, and I'll see you all on my next video.